Hello and welcome to today's video. Last week we did a fantasy nail polish team exercise, like fantasy football, only way better. I picked out some new Halloween polishes from the current stock of a few websites, just as a fun way to window shop. But this week we are going to shop my stash for Halloween. I did mention last week that the reason I wasn't going to buy any of those polishes was that I already felt I had enough Halloween polish. And having said that, I felt it would be weird not to show some of those. So here we are. I'm going to use the same sorts of color categories. So I will pick out black and white, some cartoon fun colors in green, purple, and orange. There will be some gross greens and zombie-like colors, some vampy reds, and a single bluish black for nighttime skies. And I do have a glow-in-the-dark and a thermal just for fun. Unfortunately, because of the nature of my collecting and my love for BKL and other limited edition sites, most of these are just no longer available. That is why I wanted to start with last week's video. I wanted to give you some options if you were looking to fill a niche in your collection. But for the most part, my collection can't be used that way. So instead of this video being about more new polishes, this is more so about loving polishes that I already own. And I always encourage people to reach back into their existing polish collection. For me, my collection isn't an art exhibit, never to be used and only to be admired from afar. It's more like an art project. It's meant to be used. So, let's start with our black. I'm going to try to keep the order the same as the last video if I can remember what that order is. For my first black polish, I've picked out Louie by Wildflower Lacquer. They have since changed their name to Royla Lee, but I'm going to say Wildflower because the new name still just makes me feel like I am slurring my words and that I'm half drunk. I don't know what is wrong with me. This just seems to be a particularly difficult name for me to say. It is a very opaque black polish with loads of hollow in various sizes. I think it has some linear in it as well as glitter. And also some blue hollow glitter, as well as just a bit of blue shimmer, I think. My second black is both similar but different. It is a very old Live Love polish called Last Call. This is a black hollow glitter bomb. No shimmer that I can detect. And as you might be able to tell, I am getting towards the end of the bottle. I think it is a bit over halfway done. I will be sad when it's gone, but I did get a lot of excellent use from it. This is one of my oldest polishes, but it is still in good condition, so thank you to nail polish thinner for keeping things like this alive. For my dark blue, I decided to pick something just slightly lighter this time. I'm not sure how Halloween-y I think this one is. This is Flame of Hope by Lemming Lacquer. I haven't shown this one on my channel yet, but it is one of my favorite polishes. It is just sort of a navy dusty blue with some flakes in it. I love this polish so much. It's one of the polishes I own that I have a really, really hard time not hoarding. I have to convince myself to use it because I'm scared to run out. If you saw that very old video about my nail polish rules, this is the polish that set that in motion because I needed a way to force myself to use this polish. Not because I dislike it, but because I like it too much. Next, I wanted to look at some vampy reds. I think several of these are going to look familiar. First, I picked out Isn't He a Lady Killer by Glam Polish. This is a shimmer-heavy red polish with chartreuse glitter. It's a red, but a creepy red. And my brain registers this one as vampy. It is a slightly off-putting color, but in the best possible way. I think it is a prugly red. Next, we're going to look at True Blood by Rogue Lacquer. This is a black to red multichrome with silver shreds and red reflective glitter. This is a vampire polish if I have ever seen one, and absolutely a kitchen sink. Depending on the length of my nails, I can sometimes get away with one coat for this one. There's just so much happening in here that sometimes even just 2 coats makes it feel thick. I will also be very sad when this one runs out. And finally for the Vampy Reds, I wanted something a little more berry colored, but still in that vampy category. I picked Does Evil Come From Within Us by Bee's Knees Lacquer. The base is more of a murky red color, but the blue to purple flakes pull it from being so warm into a more cool toned polish. I love that this is sort of ugly and creepy while also being very vampy. Fantastic polish. I think this is a perfect Halloween color. And I think despite not being perfectly red, I still think I can get away with calling it either vampiric or vampy. So let's move on to some fun greens, because who doesn't love a fun green? I picked out Dinosaur Loser by Girly. This was a collab with Caitlin Swatches. This is just such a fun, bright green. Yes, I would have absolutely colored in my badly drawn Stegosaurus with this color of crayon as a child. But I do think it also meets the fun, lighthearted Halloween color I was envisioning. I think of this as a cool tone green. I think to some degree it is the blue flakes and glitter pulling it that way, even though some of the flakes do turn more of a gold color. I think this is perfect for cartoon frogs. It could also work very well for more spoopy witches. To go with that, I've also picked out more of a warm-toned bright green for slimy purposes. This one is Girls Are Dis-gus-ting by Glam Polish. I think this is a perfect ectoplasm color. I love all the warm tone flakes in this, and every time I put this on, Halloween or not, it never fails to enthrall me. Just absolutely wonderful to look at. Moving over to some grosser greens and what I think of as zombie colors. This is Wildflower Lacquer, and it doesn't get any better than this. It is a deep olive green with a dark blue shimmer. This polish is both pretty and gross all at once. I think this is a really great gross green because even if you can't tolerate the olive base, the blue shimmer is there to just help you out. And I do think it gives the decomposed zombie vibe. Next I have Greed by Bee's Knees Lacquer. This is more of a mustardy brown base. It's in the Lion Cousin formulation, meaning it has hollow flakes and a shimmer. I did receive this as a gift with purchase some time back, and for whatever reason, this just screams zombie to me. At any other time of year, this color is something I adamantly avoid. This is a terrible color on me. But when I want to look like a zombie, this is perfect. And even the shimmer cannot save this from being ugly and rot-like. And yes, I know it's not really a green, but it is a zombie color, so I'm including it here. I don't know how well I've kept this secret on the channel, probably not very well. What you might not know about me is that I love toads and frogs. I love them so much. I'm one of those people who explicitly goes to find them when they go camping. A camping trip without a frog or a toad is a waste of time. Why would you even bother? The best are the little tiny toadlets that you find in spring. I love them so much. But a big hefty full-grown frog or toad is also a glorious find. I can never move out of Canada because everywhere else everything is dangerous and I'm one of those idiots who cannot help but pick up the wildlife. I recently watched a YouTuber who is not a baker make a toad cake and I loved every minute of it. That being said, I had to have Bee's Knees Lacquer Curses and Toads. Not only because it's named after toads, but also because it is an ugly, greenish, brownish gray, and I definitely think this is a zombie color, or a toady green. Arguably more of a gray, but I do think it fits into the witchy froggy Halloween color. Moving over to oranges, I'm first going to grab my favorite colors October by Glam Polish. I am certain I have shown this on the channel before. This has a bunch of green, yellow, and red glitter and an iridescent flake. This is, of course, more on the fun, cartoony orange scale of things. Is it a bunch of crazy colors? Yes. Is it great? Yes. Does it scream Halloween? Absolutely. It's another kitchen sink, but I think it's very thematic for the season. Because of the absolutely crazy nature of how this polish looks, this might just be one of those polishes I only take out at this time of year. I did also want to pick out a more realistic, slightly murky orange. For this, I've picked out one I'm sure you've seen before and probably at Halloween for a good reason. This is Damn It Malachi by Lacquer. While this is quite luminous and shiny because of the shimmer, the base is just a tiny bit murky, and that's what makes it look like a more realistic pumpkin color to me. I think the green shift in the shimmer also helps in that regard. The fill line on this is very high, so I think I have literally only worn this once, which, how sad, I need to wear this more. Next, we are moving on to the cartoon purples. I think you have technically seen this polish before in a Skittle manicure very near the beginning of my channel. This is You Look Like You've Seen a Ghost by Lacquer. It is a true purple base with some stunning large particle blue to purple shimmer. This absolutely embodies what I think of as a Halloween purple. It doesn't have to be neon. It needs to be vibrant and in sort of a narrow category of tone. I didn't buy this particular polish for that purpose, but now that I have it, it just fills the role very well. Who am I to stand in the way of such a happy accident? Next we have A Skittle Obsessed by Cuticula. I'm pretty sure you've also seen this one in another Skittle manicure, but I think it was an Easter one. This is more on the fun side of Halloween, but that's fine, we need those colors too, or at least I do. This one has a tiny bit of a dusty base, but you tend not to notice it because of the brightness of those flakes. And I think the blue of the flakes pulls it to look brighter. And I don't think the dustiness of the base detracts from the fun of the polish at all. And next are the whites. And just like finding new whites online, I knew picking whites out of my collection was going to be a bit awkward. I don't know why I have such antipathy toward white crellies and creams, but I do. So I pulled out my standard bearer for white, which is Far North by Cirque. It is a very shimmer-heavy polish, but I believe it also has some sparse blue to red shimmer in it. And on top are some tiny hollow glitter. Honestly, in so many scenarios, if I did not have this polish, I really don't know what I would do for a white, because almost every other white on earth looks gross or weird to me. Like I'm trying to admire a flimsy plastic fork in a cafeteria and failing miserably. So I'm really lucky that I like this one. I know this might not be a particularly satisfying white for others, but I'm doing my best considering my considerable white handicap. The other thing in my collection that could substitute in for a white is Princess of Starlight by Lacquer. I don't think I have featured this one on the channel yet, but I have had it for a while. It is what BKL called a white multichrome, and I think that's a fair description. This particular one has a pink to green tint through the shimmer. Again, not a perfect white, but the best I'm probably going to do. I do also have Linen by Cirque Colors, so if I'm ever in a pinch, that can also step in as a white. Interestingly, in the bottle, it doesn't look all that pink or green, or at least it doesn't here on camera, so I don't know what to say about that. Now, I did mention in the other video that I think a black to clear thermal is a fun bonus polish for Halloween. I do have a very old one, and I'm not even sure this particular thermal transitions anymore. This is Sumi by Illimité. This is a brand offered by Live Love Polish before they became Mooncat. You can see it here in its black state, although it's not quite as black as it used to be way back in the day. It's more of a deep charcoal. And it is supposed to transition to either a clear or a very pale beige. When I bought this, I did think the flakes were gold, but they are actually iridescent. However, because of the base, they just about always do look gold. I'm going to have to throw this on and see if it even still changes, but I haven't done that yet. And finally, I do have a glow-in-the-dark polish. This isn't a topper, but a standalone polish. This is His Name is Grogu by Aurora. This one happens to glow in the dark as a green, which not surprising based on what it looks like. Or at least it did the last time I wore it. Again, thermals, solars, and glow-in-the-dark polishes I believe do all have a limited shelf life. This one has almost a minty green base. It's hard to tell that because it has so many glitter. They are extremely tiny, but this is basically a glitter bomb. It has green and blue glitter as well as some hollow, and I could swear that there is a gold to green to blue shimmer in there as well. I've had trouble buying glow-in-the-dark polishes because I just did not like how they looked on a day-to-day basis. I liked the glow, but I didn't really like the actual polish. Because the glow-in-the-dark pigment seems to be a bit milky, the topper over my existing polishes would probably just look terrible. So I was happy to find this one. And those are my picks for shopping my own stash for Halloween. I know this isn't necessarily a helpful video for others in terms of being able to go out and grab these polishes because most, if not all of them, have been discontinued. The only ones I think might still be available are a selection of the Glams, but even then, probably not. But hopefully this does help in terms of encouraging all of us to love our current collection and not feeling pressured to constantly just go out and buy new polish. I know there are competing ideas about what size of collection is appropriate, but I'm more on the side of feeling we each need to decide that on our own. My collection is just under 300 bottles. I know that would sound like a lot to a non-polish lover, but in this community, that is pretty small. I know some people have thousands of bottles, and I just could not have that many. I would just end up with decision paralysis. I'd just never know what to do with any of them or myself. This is more a case of not condemning others, but just knowing more so what I would need. So hopefully you had fun looking at the ones I already own and enjoy, and hopefully you will get to pick out some old favorites for the season as well. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.